Welcome back to The Gassing Station, the podcast that fires through the Pistonheads forums like my co-host Sam Sheehan will soon be firing through the simulated gearbox of a Hyundai Ioniq 6N. I think you said 5.
Nearly slip of the tongue. And Hyundai.
Sorry, I've done it
Hyundai.
again. Damn my Surrey accent. Hyundai Ioniq 6N. For people who don't know much about Hyundais or their performance line, the 6N, the 5N was the big boxy hatchback that was the size of a house.
Yes.
The 6N is the kind of 4-door. I don't know if it's a hatchback actually, or if it's a 5-door.
Fastback, is it? I don't know.
Fastback. So yeah, it's a very streamliner look. It's a really smart looking thing, I think.
It's got a lot of extremities to it, like the rear wing. It looks extreme in its details. You're like, whoa, they definitely went to town on this. And I think, having not actually driven the car yet, but I think it's quite functional, all those bits as well.
Oh, that's good.
Aerodynamically so. And of course, as we know, the simulated stuff in the 5N, I've banged on about it on here, so have you.
Still
brilliant. Apparently, it's going to get better. Suspension changes and stuff like that. Apparently, this could be a better car than the already fantastic 5N.
I'm dead excited about it because I've been a big Hyundai fan for a long time now. We were talking off air about my adoration of the WRC accents, which we'll get onto towards the end of this podcast. Loved when Hyundai came back to rallying.
Well, they were Hyundai back then, as far as
they were.
Concerned,
Yes, precisely. That's when they stopped reminding us of what they were actually called. And then they launched the N program, which was just really felt like its own thing. I think it's difficult for, Genesis have recently tried Magma, which is we haven't seen any of their products yet, and they're going to try and make Magma a thing with Magma Racing at Le Mans this year. But the N stuff felt like, I guess because it had Albert Bierman, the former BMW M head, behind it, it gave it that real cachet of, this is some serious stuff. And now they're really the only manufacturer that's making electric cars interesting.
Yeah, and also the thing I love, unless this has changed, I'm going to fact check this as I say this, but certainly when the 5N came out, they still warranted their N models, including the electric stuff, for track days. I mean, that's not cool. That's not common in any part of the car industry, like petrol cars. Can you imagine going to AMG? I'd like to buy that A45S. I am going to drive it around the Nürburgring 500 times.
Yeah.
Is the warranty still valid? They're going to be like, no, mate, of course not. Hyundai are like, yeah, no problem.
It's a smart thing because also if you've bought a Hyundai N product and you've got it in performance blue, which is that kind of like lilac-y light blue, incredible color, and you see their cars all dotted around your track day, it's going to make you go, hey, they're quick and they look really cool. I might go and buy one. It's a very clever marketing move.
I can confirm, according to artificial intelligence, that the warranty does continue. So it doesn't include race, rally, or speed endurance, obviously.
Oh, I can't take it rallying?
Can't take it rallying.
Destroy the dampers?
Competitive.
Oh, I see. Right. Oh, so...
But probably also not rallying.
If I took it to my own personal test. Because that was AI generated, take it with a huge fistful of salt.
Yeah. Fistful, blimey.
Fistful of
That's
salt.
sore eyes, isn't it?
That's all the chit-chat we're going to go and do right now because we've got some business to attend to. We've got a massive list of cars to go through because if you've been listening to the Gassing Station podcast for a while, what we do every month or so, we'll go through, or the Pistonheads editorial team will put out a list of the best used cars to get in a certain category. We've already done sports cars, we've already done supercars, and now probably the one that I am certainly the most excited about, and I think most PHs will be excited about as well. It is the best used performance estate you can buy in 2026. Now, just want to caveat before we start this. So what we go through the Pistonheads classifieds, we go through the Pistonheads auctions, if there are any cars available. This doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best of the best of the best. It means that it's basically cars that can sometimes be a slightly left field choice. When we did the sports car list, we had an MGF trophy, which some people found a bit contentious. But first of all, it was really hard to find a sports car below $5,000. And second of all, it was kind of like, well, it's a slightly left field choice. If we were just to go and do all the obvious ones.
Yeah, MX-5 and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's stuff that they dig through on the classifieds, thought works really well, and we want to shout about it. So, what's first on the list, Sam?
Oh, it's. Do you know what? I always say this looks like a police car, and this one I think could be police car spec Ford Focus ST, because I'm sure I've seen unmarked cars, estates running around that were white and yellow back in the day, and they were unmarked cop cars, and everyone was going, "Oh my god, the police are running around in enthusiast cars now."
Oh my god,
this was one of them.
The fear of where it was like, and I think for me, I'd always known that they were doing slightly hot cars. It was when I was on the Hog's Back near Guildford, and I got overtaken at pace by a Blues and Twos Cupra Leon. Yeah. And I was like, I've no idea what they're going to be. Yeah. Now. I'm completely there's just no. It's one of the reasons why I think it's absolutely pointless speeding on the M25 because I've spoken to some traffic police who operate in that area, and they go, "You have no idea what we've got." Yeah,
their fleets are so shuffled now.
I've said before, I've seen a Toyota Mirai police car, which they confirmed. They have 2 or 3. But yeah, so what we've got here, this is for the category of up to £5,000. It's the Mark III Focus ST, so it's not the last one they made, but the penultimate one, pre-facelift, which I actually think looks a little bit better than the post-facelift. It is in white, which isn't the most imaginative colour. However, you're getting a turbocharged 2-litre engine with 247 horsepower. It's the petrol, not the diesel. It's a manual. It's got enough space in the back for a medium-sized dog or two. I have, everyone knows that I've got a Folds. We're talking about Folds in the last podcast. I wouldn't consider myself a Folds guy, but my God, you can see why people fall in love with them, because any generation of Focus, hot Focus is fantastic. They're just so much value.
Yeah, quick. And obviously now with this being an estate, you've got that performance in a relatively understated package, because obviously hot Fords can get a bit leery at points. This one's pretty understated. So you've got all that performance, kind of just blends in. The average Joe is just going to think it's a normal Ford estate.
Recaro seats.
Is it a Q car? I think it probably could fit the bill of a Q car.
It is. I would say it probably doesn't look like an undercover police car. It looks like a police car that's on its way to getting livery.
Also that. Yeah.
£4,690. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. It does have 136,000 miles on it, but Fords are relatively tough when it comes to these things. So, as a fast estate to start off with that's reliable and quick and really fun to drive, I don't think you can do much better than a Focus ST. No. If you've got a bit more budget to play with, up to £10,000 though, it wouldn't be a fast estate list without one of these. Yeah. Sam, what have we got here?
Octavia VRS, Skoda. And do you know what? All of there was one on the PH fleet a long time ago now, pre-pandemic years. Yeah. A later one than this. And one of the best cars I didn't live with it myself, but I used it a lot, and I know the team did use it a lot. A few of them lived with it, and it's much missed.
Yes, it's so former co-host John Howell, he freaking loves a Skoda. He has a Superb himself in this colour, which is a flat red, which is it's not an unmarked police car look. If you get these in grey, very unmarked police car. Yeah. In the red, not so much. But he swears by them because they are just hyper dependable, affordable, solid, and in the case of this VRS, you've got 230 horsepower, manual gearbox. Admittedly, it's one of the floppiest manuals that you'll get.
Basically a Golf GTI with a big arse, a Skoda badge, so it's good value. And yeah, floppy manual, but if I remember correctly, quite light clutches. So if you're in traffic and stuff, quite an easy car to just
That's a very good...
You lift the clutch, nice and light. I think they raise the revs as well. Don't at me on that.
Yeah, easy to use, I think is the best thing. The Folds is going to be a little bit sporty, maybe a little bit in your face, something like this. Bit more understated.
Yeah. They're a bit...
Not so much in red.
Dare I say... Yeah, not so much red. Dare I say it, but Skoda has now elevated itself as a brand, which is crazy if you think about what they were in the 20th century, into a position of relative classlessness.
That's a very good point.
You could be old money and quite happily buy a Skoda.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't feel like a cheap brand. It's just a sensible brand.
Just like Volkswagen, really. Yeah. It's very much become that kind of thing. So
millionaires who just have a runabout happily drive around the Skoda, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't know any, but it feels that way.
This is another car that's a lot like that. But at the rate that values are going, it's really going to only be available for people with a lot of money.
This astounds me, by the way. This really shocked me.
Astonishing.
This is the biggest shock on the list for me.
This is up to £15,000. And I'm so glad it's on this list.
Yeah.
It's a 1999 Volvo V70R.
I thought they were still like $5,000.
Oh no.
I totally lost this.
In the slightest, Sam Sheard. This one, we're not talking about a museum grade car here. We're talking about a car that's been very clearly well looked after. It's in fantastic condition, 111,000 miles, 3 previous owners for $12,995. It's in that kind of like mid blue.
Yeah.
With
nice.
a
I like
light
it.
With a light kind of cream leather interior. It looks really lovely. But the great thing about it is 2.3 litre 5-cylinder engine, 240 horsepower. It is auto, but you're not really buying a Volvo to be super engaging. You are buying it because it's got a freaking great engine and it's just effortlessly cool. These actually came up on my list because last week we did the RS3 Competition Limited and we were talking about our favourite 5-cylinder cars that we could find. And looking on the classifieds, I was like, oh my God, these Volvos have got such strong money.
Yeah.
But then I looked at our Pistonheads auction results, and we had a Volvo V70R that sold a couple of years ago with 122,000 miles on the clock, and it's automatic for £17,000.
Yeah, blimey. Is it? I wonder if these are people who had their dads or their mum had one back in the 90s, and this is a bit of a nostalgia buy because they feel like they've gone up quite quickly. I mean, I haven't been paying attention to these, even though I actually think they're really cool. They do feel. Last time I checked up on these, they were $5,000-6,000. I'm sure. Yeah,
I think oddly the later ones haven't quite gone up in value yet, but it's going to happen. This is kind of the era. It's a bit after the touring car version. It's the kind of the generation after that, but it's still kind of that boxy 90s, just dead cool. And I kind of feel like everyone, secretly or not, desires a Volvo estate of some kind, and they don't really get much better than this.
Yeah, I don't get much more Volvo than this as well.
It doesn't get much more Volvo than this. Yeah. If you think of a Volvo estate car, it's this.
Yeah.
Up to 25,000. We're looking at a Mark 7 Golf R.
Yeah.
Have you got much experience with the Golf, the Mark 7R?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I drove a couple. I think I drove 7.5. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I really like them. I mean, I think obviously the interior of the Mark 7 is many people still think is the peak because of the analog controls and just about enough tech. But yeah, I think they look great. This is overused phrase, but like all the car you could ever need.
Oh, 100%.
That much performance, 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive, year-round performance. DSG.
I'm going to say it. Some people might not like me for this. I think sometimes the all-round fast estate, there's no harm in it being a DSG or a flappy paddle or an auto. No problem at all, because it's got to do so many things.
Good box in this as well. These aren't an old-fashioned box.
I mean, they are fantastic. As an owner of a car with a nice round 300 horsepower, I kind of think don't really need any more than that as my daily car. All-wheel drive would be absolutely lovely. You can use it in all weather. This one is white. It's a 7.5 2020. It's got a part cloth, part Alcantara interior. But yeah, as you say, the great thing about these 7s isn't the 300 horsepower 2-litre engine. It's not the usability. It's the fact that you can access all of its controls with a nice kind of thunk of a button click or a notchy dial turn.
Yeah. And these were more expensive to build because of it. That's why everything's gone screeny. And
I tell you what too. So I don't know what you thought when you drove a Mark 8 for the first time, but my feeling was this is a substantial step down in quality from a Mark 7.
Yeah. And you engage with a lot more because you're touching screens and like piano black plastics that feel cheap.
Yes.
And you're having to engage with them and they're annoying because they're touchscreeny things. It adds to that feeling, definitely. And yeah, the rest of the interior, you're sort of like, this isn't a step forward. They've improved it in the 8.5. There have been noticeable improvements.
I've heard they've taken a big step forward. So,
but this was the peak by many measures.
This one previous owner, 42,000 miles. It's available for $23,795, and I think with that you're getting one of the top kind of examples that's currently available on the classifieds. You can get ours and our estates for less than that, but you're getting a real peach with this one. This is one you're going to want to cling on to for a while.
They hold their value, don't they? I mean, I know it would have cost 15 or 20 grand more than that spec'd up, but they don't. Golfs, I know GTIs as well. They really do hold their values.
For up to £35,000, we're talking about the Jaguar XF Sport Brake. I drove one of these a few years ago, and it was same spec as this. It was the 2-litre version, so we're not talking about the punchier V6. And they feel so wonderfully light and tactile and responsive. Massively underrated car, potentially because of Jaguar's reputation for not building the most reliable cars.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're really good, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, I think people look back on them now and go, do you know what? Maybe these were a little bit better in terms of handling than the equivalent 3 Series. Was it 5 Series? Isn't it? Sorry, I'm getting my
yes, supposedly yes, they are. They are 5 Series compatible.
And so I think now people are starting. And I've just seen this has got the later infotainment system.
The Pivi Pro.
I was just searching for the old infotainment, which does date the interior on the earlier ones. But this system is much better.
It's good.
Much better. Aesthetically lovely.
Because it looks it's slightly convexed, isn't it? So it kind of it looks like it's a screen that's sort of been draped over the dashboard rather than just stuck to it. And it was a really good system. And
they've got because obviously Land Rover did this as well, where you've got digitized but still physical controls for climate.
Yes.
So again, it's kind of like Mark 7.5 Golf, where you don't have to take your eyes off the road to change the temperature. You don't have to have an argument with an infotainment system. Overall, the interior is lovely, and obviously that, as a driver, is where you spend all your time. And I think the interiors in these are really, really nice. Look at the design, the layout, the mix. The steering wheel is actually round. A rarity.
That's a really good point of where they genuinely feel like a really lovely place to be. The XF was fantastic at doing this right from the very beginning. It feels, for me, this was Jaguar at its very best.
Yeah.
Design-wise, engineering, they drove superbly. They had the steering on them was really, really lovely. Yeah. Nice and light, but there was still the smallest bit of communication, which you didn't get with any of the other rivals.
Well, that's it, yeah.
They drove absolutely fantastically.
And pretty cars.
Really, really, really pretty. This one is in black. I think it looks... So it's black with diamond cut wheels, so it does look quite mean. It's not gone for the full angry black look. It's got 16,000 miles, 0 previous owners, so it's still with its original. At 34,950. Again, you could probably find a cheaper XF for that, but this is a 2024 car, so it's one of the later examples. And I do feel like when they did the facelift, they put the new tech in there. That's the one you want to get.
Yeah.
They're really good. Right. A little bit of a jump to the next one. £50,000. Porsche Panamera GTS Sport Turismo. Yeah. These are ridiculously fast cars.
Serious bit of kit, as you say.
And it's the performance Panamera I would want.
Oh, wow.
Because I've done the e-hybrid of these, which is the sort of car that really does punch you in the back of the head when you launch. That's the kind of... as soon as you start introducing electric motors into acceleration, the acceleration itself is awe-inspiring, but it can be a little bit uncomfortable, especially if you've not done it for a while and you get in. Whereas with the V8, you're keeping it all in the combustion, and it's just a marvelous thing.
Yeah, I've just read the top line of this car's ad as well. Oh my god!
Oh my goodness! Right, okay. This is no ordinary Panamera GTS. This is a custom tune producing close to 800 horsepower with custom downpipes and aftermarket exhaust system. I thought the back end, the tips looked a little bit pointy.
I did too, and I thought it was the aspect ratio of the photo.
Same.
I thought it had been squashed and pulled the back out. No, it's just running some much chunkier, more prominent exhausts as part of that system. That's going to be loud. And
it is
fast.
And it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So, it's up for 48,750. But there's this... It's the hard thing of where, I think a lot of these cars that we've mentioned so far, they're very good all-rounders.
Yeah.
But they're never going to feel especially great at everything other than practicality. As in, I feel so good that it's done all of this. The Golf R is a great example of that, of where it's like, It's not got the best steering. It's fast, but there are other faster cars out there. It feels well built, but it doesn't feel luxurious. But the whole package for the money is superb. This thing, however, yes, we're paying a heck of a lot more money. We're paying double that of what we would for a Golf R, but you're going to have Porsche steering, GTS steering, so it's going to feel especially good. You're going to have a really great noise from that V8 with the custom exhaust, plus the practicality of having a Sport Turismo. These 2019 Panameras are where they really started making the Panamera look pretty.
Yeah.
Or wait, pretty is the wrong word. Better looking than the cars that came before. I think this is when they just nailed it.
It wears its body shape more naturally. It doesn't feel like it's a stretch 911. Also, I know I've been talking about infotainment. Look, it's a peak again, because you've got an infotainment screen, wireless Apple CarPlay, but you've still got an analog rev counter.
Yes.
Whereas everything now on all Porsches is just pure digital everywhere.
Sam, the next car is all the car I ever want,
Yes,
ever.
yes.
I am unashamedly a massive Alpina fanboy. We have up to £75,000. It's got to be a D3S.
Yes.
G21. So, so the current... This is the facelifted version of the current 3 Series, which the standard 3 actually is a really good-looking car. I think of all the rubbish that came out with the M3 and the M4,
agreed.
the actual standard 3 Series is really, really good-looking. This, of course, has the 3-litre diesel, which on the D3S was up to 350 horsepower, which is 15 more than an M340D, and 538 pounds-feet of torque.
Nice.
From just 1,750 RPM.
It's going to be so effortless. You're going to be in top gear going up a hill with the car filled.
And it's going to be like silent. And you get that kind of slight burbliness from Alpina diesels. But
it's a nice tone.
Mostly,
it's a
which you'd never expect from a diesel.
I think I said this on an earlier episode, that the car that told me I really love Alpinas was a diesel. I drove a D3 Saloon, and I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
This is nice. It's torquey, effortless, and the noise is good. It's low volume, but it's got a musicality to it. It's got a nice tone. Not all synthesized as well. Just lovely.
We also mentioned this on a previous podcast where these pre-BMW takeover Alpinas, this is not financial advice, just so you know, but you've just got to have a hunch that these pre-BMW takeover Alpinas are going to be very well sought after, because it's that, they were an independent manufacturer. This was their absolute vision of what an Alpina should be, whereas I can't wait to see what BMW does with Alpina. We know that they're going to be announcing a new car soon. In fact, by the time this podcast goes out, they would have probably announced it. But we're talking about these bleed the original Alpina blood. A diesel Alpina is a fantastic thing. Yes, the actual power hike over an M340 isn't that substantial, but it's the little tweaks everywhere else that you're really going to notice it. It's the extra added layer of luxury inside. It's that beautiful mix of performance and comfort.
Yeah. Definitely the comfort with the suspension as well.
Absolutely.
Because Alpinas have a habit of fantastic body control and more comfort.
Yes.
And you're like, BMW's already a high starting point for those things.
Exactly. When you think about the times that, I've gushed over things like CS models of where they just make tiny little tweaks, but it has a massive impact on the end result. It's the same thing with an Alpina. Lots of little tweaks, but you're getting something that is such an incredible all-rounder that's nice and luxurious, very, very fast, and also exceptionally rare.
Yeah.
And, there's always going to be the thing, especially if you come to a PH Sunday service, you turn up in an Alpina, you're going to get a nod.
Instant respect.
Like,
I love the little pinstripe on the side of these being so subtle as well.
Absolutely.
It's like a dark blue over the lighter blue. Nice.
This example is up for £71,500. A lot of money. It's considerably more than what you'd pay for an M340D, but you get an Alpina at the end of the day. 11,497 miles in blue with dark grey wheels, and again, it's the facelifted car, cream leather interior. Oh, I need to stop. We need to move on because I'm getting way too excited. Up to £100,000. Almost at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. The Alpina, we're talking about subtlety. We're talking about comfort and maybe flying under the radar. This punches the radar straight in its stupid face. It's a Mercedes-AMG E63 S. Now, we know that Mercedes is working on a new V8 engine for its AMG cars. We know the CLE is going to be getting a V8. We don't know if the next E-Class is going to be getting a V8. It's believed that straight sixes are coming to the C and potentially the E. But what we have here is the 4-litre hot V twin turbo V8 with 603 horsepower. These are just such unbelievably cool cars. This one's in grey with the obligatory black wheels with the silver lip around them.
And the fake centre lock. Yeah.
Fake centre lock. I know it's fake, but it still looks cool. £77,850. But everything that AMG has done since and has, is kind of backpedaling on a little bit now. That's not a slight against them. It's just that the fact that they've gone, we realise that people love the V8. It's because of cars like this. It's fun, it's playful.
A cold start on a cold morning with one of these is always a special moment. Yeah, that V8 startup is very nice. And I do love, obviously these won't be running the loudest exhaust setup, but in a G-Wagon, for example, or something where they run them, a little bit less restricted, they make a serious rumble, don't they? And even when you rev these out, actually, with the quieter exhaust on, they've still got plenty of character. WLTP hasn't fully strangled them yet.
I think the important thing to know, though, is that they feel alive almost at any speed, which is something that AMG struggled with the C63, the follow-up C63, and
with the 4-pot.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God,
and as well the
CLE
CLE 53, which is not a full-blown AMG, but they were definitely trying to position it as kind of more AMG-ified. This is just going to be fun 100% of the time.
Yeah, you're right. It's a V8 that still burbles, even if it doesn't burble like an old carburettor one. It's still got that muscle all the time.
I can't wait to see what AMG does with the new V8, because they're doing it to Euro 7, and the whole reason they moved away from the V8 in the first place is because getting a V8 to work with Euro 7 is really difficult. But engineers are fantastic. I can't wait to see what they do with it. But it would be incredible if it's anywhere near as characterful as this.
Yeah,
this is a fantastic way to spend £77,850, and the complete opposite of the Alpina. Car I recently drove is up next. So up to £125,000. I think Nick's actually gone a little bit over with this one. It's more like up to £135,000. We've got a new BMW M3 CS Touring. Oh my goodness, these get under, any CS gets under your skin, but my God,
it's not discreet, is it, in this spec?
Not in the slightest. So this is Laguna Seca Blue. Yeah, so they had one of these. So I drove this at Thruxton last year.
Yeah.
And they had one of these in this spec. In fact, I think that it was the test car was the Laguna Seca Blue one, which looked fantastic with the gold wheels. Great to see Laguna Seca Blue back. Looked fantastic on the E46 M3. But this is one of those cars where they just made it a little bit lighter and they just did some tweaking to the geometry, and the standard G81 M3 Touring was no bad thing whatsoever. It's just that a CS is just better in almost every single way.
Yeah.
The only thing I noticed with it is that when you drive an M5 CS versus a M5 Comp, what we had before, the CS, the actual damping was even better than the regular Comp. This, I would say, definitely felt firmer than a standard Touring, but who cares?
Really? It's got the pokey rear seat, the pokey front seats as well. Your kids in the back are just going to do that to you, aren't they? Because there's two gaps basically in the middle of the seat. I know that's not specific to the. You get that across all M3s, don't you? You can option them in, I think.
Especially with the very lightweight and the ultra high bolster. Seats, which definitely are going to bruise you if you don't go in properly.
But I just know if you had kids, they would just spend most of the start of the journey poking the back of you.
But the crazy thing is that they gave us 90 minutes on Thruxton by ourselves in the car.
No kids in the back.
No kids in the back, and just at no point did it's the kind of thing you get out and you go, oh, I completely forgot this was an estate.
Yeah, I know. I totally forget this. They get split tailgates. That's such a useful tool. You just throw your shopping in, fantastic. A split tailgate on the back of a super estate is fantastic.
There's an annoying thing that car journalists like us do all the time, of where we go, is this the ultimate XXXX car? And, it's trying to drum up some excitement about an article. And I think I kind of fell foul of that when I wrote about this, and I said, is this the ultimate M3? Yes, it is. Yeah. It's the ultimate M car. I can't think of anything that would be better than this, because it drives fantastically. I actually think that the nostrils look better on the Touring than it does the standard car. I think it works a bit better proportionally.
Yeah.
I would get rid of the red highlights.
Yeah, me too. I don't like that.
I think it's amazing.
And also shout out for anyone who's checking this car out on the website. Just shout out whoever vacuumed the boot. Amazing. It looks like a zebra's been laid out in there. There are so many stripes, not just on the floor, but also up the back of the rear seats. Excellent vacuuming.
Is this the ultimate boot vacuuming?
I think it is.
Yeah, it really is. That's incredible. Only covered 1,000 miles, so I mean it's pretty much brand new. The other thing to bear in mind with this is that BMW don't reveal how many they make or how many they're going to make, but they told me that it's a really very small number. There's not a lot of these around, so get it while you can.
Yeah,
it's just going to cost you £134,995.
That's a bargain compared to the next one.
Exactly. The sky's the limit option. It's not actually that much more expensive.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But it definitely, if you think a M3 CS Touring is quite a punchy looking thing, this thing is in a whole different weight class. It is an Audi RS6 GT in the Heritage IMSA GTO colours. So it's white with the white wheels and the Heritage red, goldy, grey, black stickers. It's just so cool. Sam, you've just come off the back of driving this.
I can confirm that it turns heads like a McLaren, 750S or something. People would film you when you're driving by in it. Stop and stare, point, look shocked. It is supercar experience in an estate form.
Oh, 100%.
And also in terms of actual performance as well, because my God, this thing shifts.
It's a proper brute
quick
as well. I mean, I don't know what the RS5 is going to feel like. Our review of that is now live. But yes, this thing, I drove it on some very tight, twisty roads in Spain at quite a pace, and I was very glad that there was no one else around, because it definitely it's got a lot of momentum. But the thing is it keeps its weight in check really well, and it's the steering with the coilover suspension is sublime.
It really does change the car. A standard RS6, we said in the last episode, perfect point-to-point car, estate car, but this just adds a whole level of involvement thanks to the coilovers, changes to geometry and steering.
Oh, 100%. 621 horsepower from a 4-litre V8.
It's rapid off the line, rolling. So it's one of those cars, this is common in super electric cars, but isn't always the case in high-performance petrol estates, at least. You sort of look at a spot on the horizon, you're like, I want to be there, and then you put your foot down, you're like, oh, I'm here.
Yes, exactly.
It's that quick.
And in something like this, you'll kind of go, I think I've just completely steamrolled most of the environment to get there. This one is, it's delivery mileage, really. 81 miles, one previous owner, £176,950. Yeah.
How does that
work? Someone clearly bought it and they went, no, I can't handle it. Someone else can.
Or they probably went, I can probably make some money on this.
Yeah, that's probably more like it. But fantastic car. That is our list of the best used estate cars you can buy right now. But I genuinely would love to hear what your input is. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a story of this on the homepage of this podcast. Let us know down below if we've got it right, we got it wrong. What would you suggest alternatively? I'll also leave a link to the article in case you want to put it there. But I love going through these lists. They're so much fun. And they make you think about things slightly differently. It's like, if I've had 15 grand to spend on a fast estate, would I then go, I wouldn't go like, oh, I didn't realize that a Volvo V70R was, the going rate for that. So would I want a Volvo V70R? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
More consumer advice. This is going to be a very consumer advice heavy podcast. As usual, we're going to do a buying challenge. And this week, we've got a post from Brock Overs.
Good work on that one, because I was like, really?
It's a Brock OVRS, and they have a topic titled Replacement for a Mustang. And they say, I've had my 2019 Mustang GT since November, and whilst it's a great car, it's not really clicking with me. I love how it looks and sounds, but it's not particularly comfortable to be in. No matter what I adjust, I still can't really find a driving position that suits me. And being a manual with a heavy clutch is a bit of a pain in stop-start traffic on the commute, even with the softer clutch assist spring.
Yeah, because they are. The ones I've driven, it's a very springy clutch.
Very
really, yeah. I don't think they're tiring at all, but I guess if you're coming from an auto.
It's been a few years since I've driven one, and I can't really remember the clutch. I was too busy having fun.
I don't think they're heavy, but I guess I've just read the next line, and I'm like, fair enough.
Well, yeah, but they say, I'm a bit of a tart, so any replacement would have to have things like Apple CarPlay, heated seats, reversing camera, etc., as well as actually looking/sounding interesting. So ideally, nothing with a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo. I have no need for 4 doors, but would like something with rear seats for very occasional time I need to take more than one passenger / the dog. I've had a few hot hatches, Focus STs, 3 Civic Type Rs in the past, and whilst they've been great fun, I feel like I've had enough of them for the moment and would like to go with something a bit less sensible whilst fuel is still vaguely affordable. Oh, that's
yeah.
This was clearly posted, at least a few days ago.
Yeah.
So far at the top of my list is a W205 C63 S Coupe, ideally post 2019, as I prefer the facelifted dash, but finding a decent one may take a while. I'm wondering if there's anything else obvious that I've missed that could be fun as a daily driver. Budget is around 40 to 45,000, but they say that 50,000 is possible for the perfect car. And that's what we're in the business for. We're in the business for the perfect car. So we've gone all the way up to 50 grand for this. As we say, if you're going to give us a bracket, we're always going for the top one. So Sam, 50 grand, that's a good amount of money to play with to go and find something fun. It was more difficult than I was expecting, to be honest.
And I've broken rules again, as I did last episode. But one, I haven't broken the rules. But I just want to shout out the two. I'll end with the car that I haven't broken the rules with. I think no mention of no turbocharged 4-bangers, right? Did I see that in there?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, I've gone with a turbo 4-banger. But
oh God, you have, yes.
But it's a 2001 Tommy Mackinnon edition.
Yes.
Mitsubishi Evo 6.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
Come on. And you can get a retro Apple CarPlay thing put in there if you want. It's singled in, so it's not going to be a big screen. But yeah, I mean,
just
this is
phone
just
on the dash.
just put your phone on the dash. Buy an Atlas. I don't know. Look at it. It's so immaculate, this car as well. Most of them probably are, I guess, now the ones that have survived without being completely modified.
Black as well, with the white wheels and the rally art.
45
decals.
grand. Oh, it's so lovely. 42,500 miles. It's a JDM import by the looks of it, so it's probably even healthier underneath than it would have been if it had lived here all its life. I mean, that's just awesome. I know it doesn't have all the CarPlay built in, but
It's not. I wouldn't consider that a bad thing in the slightest.
No.
Good thing to point out with that is that if you get a TME in the red in red, you're paying nearly double the price.
So this is a
I
bargain.
might be wrong if there's a slight difference. I don't know all the ins and outs of the TMEs, but I've still yet to figure it out. Whenever I see a white one or a red one or a blue one or a silver one, they are always considerably more affordable than the red ones.
Yeah.
I'd say for obvious reasons, but the premium for one that looks like Tommy's car is really, really high.
That's a good point, actually. It looks like the rally car, doesn't it? Yeah. The Mitsubishi press car had his signature on the bonnet, if I remember correctly. That was then lacquered over.
Oh, that's cool.
So it has in permanent marker, yeah.
They sold their press cars, unfortunately. Yeah. That was obviously one of them.
Because they're not in the UK anymore. So sad.
Shame,
I know Renault Sport sold off all the press fleet.
That was painful.
Mitsubishi sold off all devastated.
Stop selling your press cars because we can play with them and we have a lot of fun. What I will point out with that is they are, with hatches like a Focus ST and a Civic Type R, I know they're not really up for a hot hatch, which this isn't, but the kind of yobbish 4-banger turbo is clearly something they quite enjoy. So that is a good shout.
And this, I mean, I guess the latest Civic Type R and this actually have more in common, driven axles aside. But yeah, I think it's great. On the subject of yobbish cars, this at one point certainly was the probably yobbiest car, and
it still is.
It still is, and many enthusiasts didn't like it. Not having the ones who didn't drive it. I think it was accused of being bit automated, but obviously now we know that is not the case at all. And it's fantastic because it's an R35 Nissan GTR with, look, a screen in the dash, which means it probably can take Apple CarPlay, as I know that was one of the requirements. You know, this is still one of the fastest ways to cover ground and one of the most, I mean, technologically, even by today's standards, as far as the hardware underneath it's concerned, one of the most technologically impressive non-hypercar machines out there. It's a spectacular bit of kit, you know. It's tough motors as well.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know what apparently when this came out, Nissan said that it was impossible to tune the engine.
Oh, well, people have more than double the power.
485 horsepower for this one, the black edition.
Yeah.
And I think Litchfield doubled the amount of power in it within like seconds of taking hold of one.
And basically no hardware changes. No. Wasn't it all just like mapping and maybe intake and exhaust?
Maybe they just read it wrong. They were like, oh, we said it was impossible to we should have said it was actually extremely easy to tune it. Yes, that's what we should have said.
They're like known for being really tough engines.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because they're just, I think it's the fantastic thing about Japanese engineering is it's so over-engineered that I'm assuming detuned to make sure it's, you know, long lasting, but fabulous cars. I drove one of these a couple of years ago, and I thought that was a Litchfield tuned one, LM20, and fantastic car. It really does actually fit the brief quite well because it's yobbish, sounds good,
space in the back.
Looks interesting, still turns heads wherever these things go. They do sound fantastic with a freer flowing exhaust, and it's an auto.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about traffic and stuff.
I think they've aged really well as well because they're yobbish in their basic shape, but there's not a lot added to them. They're not covered in, you know, bits of carbon fiber here and there. It's just a very aggressive shape.
And 45 grand means that you're saving £5,000.
Exactly.
So it's more towards the top end of your ideal.
Yes.
You know, but yeah.
If you only wanted to have £25 change, however, then you could bag yourself a Motorsport Edition, so limited run up to 23 examples, C63S AMG.
Wrong one. 2017. It's not 2019. Doesn't have the updated dash, Sam. Put it in the bin.
I was
I'm just kidding.
I was looking at you. I was
just kidding.
Wrong one. I was like, what is?
No, because I mean, like, how could you turn your nose up at this? I mean, so it's. That's a laughably small iPad on the dash, isn't it? That is a small iPad.
It looks so rubbish. Yeah. I forgot they look like that.
Yeah, but the thing is that who
the
cares?
iPad dash, that
because
is, by the way.
You've got, again, 4-litre V8.
Of course.
With how much horsepower did these things produce? It's
503.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Was it 510 PS, 503 bhp?
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Matte black or matte dark grey with the yellow stickers down the side. Yeah. I remember watching the Blancpain GT series when the AMG GTs were running in those colours. They looked so cool. It's subtle. It is not. In fact, it makes the GTR look subtle.
It does, yeah.
But it's cool. It's got a big shouty V8. It's a 2017 car as well, so that's the thing to consider. It's pre-WLTP.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have those shouldn't have those particulate filters on it, which means that you'll hear more of that V8 than if you went for the 2019 car. Yeah.
And it really does make a difference. One of the best drives I ever had pre-pandemic, I know I keep using that as if it's like a moment in time. It is.
It was.
Pre-pandemic was in a C63S, just a normal one. I think I mentioned it on the pod before. And so this being a slightly more special one, I imagine this would be a wonderful car to live with.
I'll tell you what would also be a wonderful car to live with. My first choice. I can't find anything wrong with this. It's so good. It's a 997.1 911 Turbo. Doesn't need to be a 911 Turbo S in silver. Apparently, this is a special order silver. It doesn't say which color it is.
I'd like it to look the same as the other ones, but just a bit different.
Yes, exactly. I don't really know how it's different, but it looks exceptionally lovely. 473 horsepower from, again, that turbo 3.6 litre flat six. I've always thought the turbos have been like, not a lot of people get excited by a turbo, but when you drive one, you go, oh, okay, I get this. This is fantastic. I've not done the 997. I've done the 996, and it blew my head off with how fast it was. It was a 996 Turbo S.
I've not driven any of the early turbos. The earliest I was in was a 991.
Right.
And I know more recently people claim
they are like hypercar fast.
Yeah. But they're still quite pointy. They're still quite. But this was back in the days when 911 still handled like 911s a little bit, which is to say they were a little. You knew the engine was out the back. So did you feel like these felt a little bit? I suppose you didn't drive the 907, but it's still an enjoyable car to get around corners in.
Oh, immensely. I mean, I think the thing that was alarming is just the sheer rapidness of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that I drove had 450 horsepower. This has got 473, so even more. And they just feel light and still contemporary.
Yeah.
And
it's small, isn't it? So you've got that modern feeling, but it's not as wide as a 992, which is a big car now.
If you don't care about showing off, and you don't mind looking at your car and going, it's not the flashy 911, it's much more subtle, but just as an all-round, as a car that just does everything, I still think these are fantastic. And I think these look, the 997.1 in particular, I think is, I'm going to say it, I think it's the best looking 911 turbo.
It's my favourite era, because I think the taillights as well. I love the 996 because it looks old school, but this, like you said, looks contemporary. And I just think there's something about the attitude of the taillights in particular I really like. It's kind of got an understated look, but then you're like, oh, there's big wings. There's, vents there for an engine. It's a serious bit of kit, but actually at the same time, I think it's also the race cars of the time looked quite similar. Even the Le Mans car.
Yeah, they look like
drastically
turbos,
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's got 50,000 miles, 0 previous owners, so it's still with its loyal owner by the looks of things. And 49,995, so yeah, definitely at the top end of the budget scale. But
how many miles? 50,000 miles.
50,000.
That's all right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
God, I love that car. I love the next car. I love all the cars I've gone for. I've really enjoyed this actually. I thought this was silver. By the looks of it, though, it's a very slight kind of bronzy color. Marvelous.
Yeah.
It's a Lotus Evora 400. It does have rear seats. It's a 2+2. You can probably get. There was a passenger / the dog. Mm-hmm. Passenger, the other seat. The dog, they can fit in the back, providing they're not a German Shepherd. But 3.5 litre V6, 394 horsepower. And I just think, it's the typical Lotus thing or the typical British car thing, really, of where they just get. There are 1,000 different iterations and they all got better and better and better and better. I feel like the 400 is when the Evora really got into its own. I feel like this was, I'd hate to say it's a cliche, but it's the sweet spot in the Evora range.
Yeah.
I think.
And you're talking, what year is this? 2016? Yeah, so obviously the Emira of today, as the V6 is a great car, but a lot of people are annoyed how it's just related to the earlier Lotus. And this, you could argue, like you said, this was getting to a peak, wasn't it? Whereas the latest Lotus is sports cars, that is, which is just the Emira.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you want a perfect Lotus, you probably do have to look back to this era.
Now, ideally, I would want a manual in something like this. However, going off the poster and how they're just finding manuals a bit of a faff in traffic. This one's actually a paddle shift.
Well, I think they basically said they wanted an auto then, didn't they? In
Pretty
that sense?
much, yeah. I mean, that's why. So it was the same with my 911 Turbo. That was an auto. This is an auto as well, paddle shift. I don't think that's any great thing. The Evora 400 was a lot more focused. It's going to feel great with a manual. I think it's still going to feel pretty good with a paddle shift as well. It's going to sound fantastic. It's going to drive brilliantly. 29,600 miles, 48,995 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic car. Red leather interior too. That looks unbelievably cool.
It looks so good with that
exterior
really good
color.
Yeah.
It really does work. It doesn't always work with the red leather interior, but on this, 100%.
And it's actually the same weight. I've just seen you've got more seats, but it's the same weight as the current gen 4-cylinder Emira. Obviously, because the new Emira has the new safety kit on it.
Absolutely.
So it's just under 1.4 tons. So it's more car in many measures than a current gen Emira for the same weight.
I think I'd have that over a 4-pot Emira.
Around about,
but I think there's a lot of things I'd have over a 4-pot Emira.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I do feel like this fits the brief the best. It's a Lexus RCF Carbon. The Carbon introduced, believe it or not, carbon fiber elements. It had a carbon fiber front bonnet, and I think the boot was made of carbon fiber as well. It's exposed carbon fiber. But which is kind of slightly at odds with the RCF, because the RCF was not a sports car. It was a big wafty GT that they kind of cobbled together a GT3 racing car with. And it feels like they were kind of like, well, we've got to draw some comparison with the GT car and the racing car. So let's put some carbon bits on it.
Yeah.
I still think it looks really cool. This one's red with a carbon bonnet. It's a lot cheaper than the other cars I've mentioned. It's $35,990. So in that regard, I think it's much closer to the criteria. It's also a V8. I feel like it's not totally out of line with them liking a Mustang. It's going to be a bit shouty. It's going to be a bit comfortable. Actual usable rear seats. £19,000. And a Lexus V8. We always
19,000 miles.
Sorry, 19,000
pounds.
19,000 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic car. I'm not sure it's the one that I'm going to put forward though, Sam. So you go with yours first.
Do you know what I just want to say? When I drove one of these, I loved how analog they felt, because you have all the buttons and the gear selector.
Yes.
Is it's like click, 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 click.
Oh,
like
love
it's
that.
quite a mechanical feeling
like a
auto.
girder.
Yeah, it's really, there's a lot of analog in the interior that makes it just feel like a bit of an experience to drive. Really good. I'm going to choose out of my selection, I'm just going to go with the C63S, the Motorsport Edition, my AMG Coupe.
I mean, I feel like that's the best one. And it's
the only one that actually ticks the boxes. Yeah.
The Lexus ticks the boxes. But instead, I'm going to go for the 911 Turbo.
I think that, I mean, I'd be tempted to that.
I think the 911 Turbo is a good shout. So what I'm going to do, if you're listening to this on Spotify, there'll be a vote. So you can choose my car, you can choose Sam's car, and we'll tally up the votes to see who the winner is. It's always good fun. If not, you can go onto the Pistonheads homepage. I'll leave an article of this podcast up there. There'll be a link to the topic, so you can go in there and you can actually submit your own to help out Brock Overs in their hunt for a new car, and you can then tell them how rubbish Sam and I are. Oh, and also make sure that you check out Pistonheads auctions. We've got new cars coming up all the time. There was nothing that quite fit the bill on this one. However, we always have. I mean, we've sold I think we've sold an RCF through auctions before. We've definitely had big V8 cars that fit the bill perfectly. It's just annoyingly, we always have one on auctions. Annoyingly, we just don't have one at the time of recording. So check back in a few days. I'm sure something will pop up that fits the bill just right. Let's bring this into land with a final topic from Where Is It Now?
I was about to say, are you going to shout? And you did. I'm so happy you did.
It's in block capital.
Full caps.
Where is it now? Trying to trace your old car. This is by 360 Boy, and they say, I am sure that many of us have often wondered what became of our beloved car from years ago. How about trying to locate some? I've had success in tracing my old Lamborghini Espada after selling it 20 years ago. So I will kick this off with a request of the whereabouts of my old BMW 635 CSI. The registration was, I'm not going to mention registrations because I'll get in all sorts of trouble, after I took the private plate off. It was quite a well-known car because it used to belong to the ex-boxer Barry McGuigan?
Sounds like a Simpsons character.
No, yeah, it does sound like a Simpsons character.
Barry McGuigan. Colour
was Zinnober red, and it had an M-Tech body kit from the factory. Here's the thing. I know the last tax disc expired in 2003. So I chose this because it's been resurfaced very recently, but it was actually originally posted in 2006.
Wow, what optimistic years.
That's how optimistic years, but also shows how long Pistonheads has been around. What's also going to make you feel extremely old is that the person here said, 360 Boys said that they sold their Lamborghini Espada 20 years ago. That was actually 40 years ago.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
2006, 20
that's
years
wild.
ago. Oh my God.
And this has been resurfaced. So somebody, this is the beauty of the
20
forums.
years later.
Somebody's found it, brought it back to the surface, and it's living a second life.
But it's still relevant. You know, that's why it was fun to bring up, because it definitely made me think of some cars. So I'll just say that Neutral 3 said, my 69 4-speed 360 cubic Q Daytona yellow. What does CU stand for? Cubic units?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's 350... Yeah, cubic inches, or aren't they weird in America? But I can't.
They all have different cubic buckets or whatever.
Yeah.
Daytona yellow Corvette Stingray. I stupidly sold it in July '95 to a trader in air quotes who was sending every Corvette he could buy out to France to a dealer who he called Pierre, also in air quotes. I asked him over 12 years later who it went to, but he refused to tell me. FFS. It could be anywhere in Europe by now, but possibly in Sweden. I wonder where it is 20 years later. Avensis says, interesting thread. I checked out my S1 Elise on MOT Checker, bought it new as one of the last S1s and sold it at 38,500 miles in 2005. MOT Checker says it's only done 3,500 miles in 16 years. Again, wonder what that's covered in the next 20 years. VIXP1 says, does it work on ex-girlfriends?
Do we want that?
Do you want that?
Do you want to dig that up?
Do you really want to go there? And MM0BQK rolls off the tongue with that. Says, been a while since I last asked, but we'll ask again in the case you guys have better ways of tracing these now. I'm still looking for my granddad's old Morris Minor. Grey, Reg. I'm not going to read it out, but you can go into the forums because some people delete these afterwards, and if we have it permanently up on a podcast, it's just going to be a mess. Forever hopeful of finding and bringing this old car back into the family.
Oh, so this is somebody who's reawoken this thread in search of their granddads.
That's it.
That's a sweet story.
That is it. And I think I kind of wanted to end it on that one because I think that's the one that resonated with me the most, of trying to find. There are two old cars that I would like to find. One of them is my first car for reasons that are so utterly stupid. But I kind of just want to own it and put it somewhere and then come back to it. My first car, I've mentioned before, was a 2002 Hyundai Accent 1.3i, which I bought for £650. It had 12,000 miles on it when I bought it in 2010. So it had barely been used. It was 8 years old, 12,000 miles, barely driven. It was silver, 3-door, and my stupid plan for it is up there in stupidity of like the 787 Bongo Friendly, is to have a ProDrive P1 or P25 style Hyundai Accent,
I mean, that would
inspired
be cool
by the rally car, which would require money I don't have.
Yes.
But it's a stupid dream, and a man could dream.
Your driveway is going to look amazing. Do you know, I've just done a bit of research.
Yeah.
I've copied and pasted the number plate we can't say for that Morris Minor into Plate Checker, and I can see that it hasn't been taxed since the 1st of October 1981, which doesn't bode well. However,
yes,
I did a bit of journalism / I scrolled down the page.
You are good at journalism.
This is journalism in action. For some reason, the last V5C logbook was issued in 1983, so it wasn't taxed and hadn't been taxed for 2 years, and yet somebody requested a logbook.
There's hope there, Sam.
Has it been exported? Is it abroad and somebody just wanted some original documentation?
We
What's
could probably
happening
hope
here?
so, to be honest, because I think a Morris Minor stuck in the UK, outside, God forbid, could be fatal.
That said, the odds of... I mean, in the mid-80s, a late 50s Morris Minor was probably worth about 7 pence, or whatever the equivalent. They'd moved to metric by that point.
I think so.
I'm not going to try and talk about thrippence. Yeah. Anyway, so it was worth about 4 shillings. No, so I think at that point it wasn't worth anything. So the chances of it having survived just because most of them didn't.
But there's no harm in asking, because the great thing about this thread, or this topic, is that there are some people that have gone, oh, I had that car, or I'm familiar with that. This is a great freaking thing with piston heads, honestly. The other car that I would love to find, and I have tried digging for it and I can't find it, is my dad had a E46 M3. It was one of the first in the country, I think. We were quite lucky to get it very early on. It was one of the few cars, a few M3s that were spec'd with the cloth interior, because I know it's just ridiculous. But he had a cloth interior.
I like that.
My mum didn't like the leather, the smell of leather interior, so we got a cloth interior. Which actually looked really cool. It was in carbon Schwartz, manual, and just... I remember like waking up... Used to wake me up when he went to work. I would wake up for school with the sound of that and a cold start.
Oh, lovely.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
So I know my brother tried looking for it, and we got as far as finding out that it looked like it was tuned up and then given away in one of those supercar giveaways, and I can't find any. Even on, if you put the reg into the MOT checker, there's nothing. Can't find anything, which is really, really odd. It doesn't even recognise the registration. Yeah,
well, I've just done that with all the reg, like my dad's old van with M622 PPY. I can say that because it's long gone. I think it's and my first car, my Fiat Punto, that's gone. But it doesn't show. I wish the plate checker DVLA system would show the history of the car until it was written off or until it was crushed, but they just delete it and then it's just gone as far as the website's concerned.
So if it's been like written off, they just delete it.
They delete it, or if it's had a private plate on it for many years.
I see.
I think that also happens because it still owns that plate, the original plate, but it doesn't seem to stay in the records.
Really
don't at me on that, but
yeah.
That seems to be what I'm getting when I'm searching for plates I know existed at some point and just don't exist in the system anymore.
How odd. Well, those are the cars that I would love to track down. It sounds like on the M3 front, at least, that's going to be not going to go anywhere with that. What would you, if you could trace down one of your old cars, or one of your parents' old cars, what would it be?
I know it sounds weird, but I'd mentioned it. My dad's old van had so many good times in that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and when I did kart racing as a teenager, it was there. Taking us all across the country. Drove naturally aspirated 4-cylinder diesel M-Reg Transit. So it had about 7 horsepower, but it was super reliable. Started on the button. And
what
it was
year's M-Reg?
M-Reg was 94.
Oh, okay. So that's
proper smiley face.
Those are the kind of school buses that I grew up with at school, that era of transit. It was a very smart looking transit. That. Yeah.
And also, I don't know, we always have our little Top Gear TV references that stick with you. And the one that I remember is when they had a transit of that era, they were doing stuff with vans. I can't remember what they were. And Clarkson was driving along and the smiley face transit being driven by someone else was tailgating him. And he was like, that's a familiar sight. And it was just because you look in the mirror and you just have this big smiley transit right up your backside. That's
one,
it,
right?
That era.
Amazing. Yeah.
But they rotted like anything.
I remember, when on the extremely rare occasion I had to go to a sports match at school, we went in one of these. And back then, I mean, I'm talking like mid 2000s, it was rotted to do anything.
I think my dad's old one was
children in that.
Well, yeah, my dad's old one was an ex-drainage van as well, so I think it had a lot of fluids had passed through its. Yeah,
so much water
in rotten. There. But no, that era, I think, like that Volvo estate we saw earlier, I think there is a market for mint versions of these that I'm not going to start saying they're worth a lot of money, but they are nostalgia buys for people who want, because think about historic transits from the 60s, they're worth a fortune.
I know. Yeah, I went to the classic motor show at the NEC last year, and there was a massive transit display with the super vans on it. It was really cool, actually. It was nice to see some love for a train. I still remember the sound of the engine. And we're talking about 20, 25 years ago now. I still remember the sound of the diesel engine.
Yeah.
And they were so clattery.
Yeah. But tough as everything.
Anything,
tough as old boots. Yeah. There you go. Look, there's loads of them going here. Look, there's a Lotus Cortina colours. Wow. That
looks like a prop from a Carry-On film, doesn't it? Yeah. Blimey.
12 grand. Oh no, 11,250. There you go. Let's all go and buy transits.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd love to hear, genuinely would love to hear what cars you would love to track down. Is it something that your parents had? Is it something that you had? You can either kind of leave a comment on the story of this or jump into the topic. It's probably the best place to do it. Contribute there. Again, it's a 20-year-old topic, but I'm so glad to see it's resurfaced because, it came up recently and I thought, it just brought back loads of really good memories of cars that I had, cars that my parents had. So I think that's a nice place to leave this week's episode of the Gassing Station podcast. Thank you ever so much for listening. If you like what you listen to, please leave us a 5-star review, maybe some nice words too. Just helps us know that we're on the right track and also helps get the name of the Gassing Station podcast out to more people as well. Sam, anything you would like to add before you go off and drive the new Hyundai Ioniq 6N?
6N. There are so many exciting cars to talk about this month.
Horrific.
Yeah, that's the slimmed down version. There's a lot of exciting stuff. So come back and we've got some updates on some pretty considerable cars. One is extremely PH, and then that Hyundai, of course, as well, potentially very PH as well.
Watch this space. Well, until then, see you next Tuesday.